All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Dorohedoro, Season 1, Episode 8.
Yeah, because we're getting a second season of this wonderful show.
We had
last episode of baseball episode.
Last episode was All-Star Game.
I cannot properly communicate just how much I loved that episode.
It's the best kind of dumb filler and ridiculous antics.
Dumb, stupid shit with just amazing character interactions and
actual
comedy.
Stuff developing.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Because apparently, Ebisu is the one that Caiman's been looking for.
Yeah, and she knows the face.
The face knows her.
We essentially like expected this to happen and stuff. And based on the type of magic that Ebisu had, we also kind of knew it had to be something along these lines. That's why she was in the show.
Told that, yeah.
But now it's just the characters coming aware to these types of things.
Yep.
But also just the antics that happened at...
Hold this.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, we're this close. This close to Matsumura being basically resurrected of sorts. Not really resurrected.
It could happen, maybe. Noi is very talented.
That's true.
You get some meat goop. She might be able to do something with it.
Something with it.
It's possible.
Yeah. But with this reveal and with
what will be changed?
Memory kind of coming back with regards to that. Maybe there will be some interesting things that they can collaborate on together.
Yeah, possibly.
Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Drop the beat.
Right.
Nom 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 nom. That's very interesting.
Huh. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Shit. Oh shit.
Shocking!
Alright. Caiman, you baka.
God, I think this show took a little bit of time, like a little bit in that first episode, to grow on me. But I actually went and rewatched a little bit of this show for the first time, kind of. I vibe with this show, man. It
took a rewatch to figure that out.
No. I already vibed with it, but I really vibe with it.
Oh
now.
yeah, no, this show is fantastic.
Remember what the main story was after that baseball filler episode.
Not as good, is it?
No. Dang. So he's really split then.
Yeah. I love how it's what would traditionally be a scary environment.
What?
Okay.
Oh. Blue Knight. I don't trust magical festivals. I've played D&D too many times to know what happens at magical festivals. Whoa. Oh, that lighting!
Yeah.
Oh,
that guy's voice sounds familiar.
What's with this wholesome, like,
Yeah.
kind of relationship when he's about to kick the shit out of these guys? Ooh.
That's a fun design.
Yeah, he's got, like, almost a fox aesthetic, kind of.
Oh, she.
Debt collectors. Oh. Oh. Oh.
それもマスクか？いや、魔法でこんな姿に家はないんだ。仕事を探しててどっか働けるところないかな？
Here. Ah! Yeah, I love it. Okay. We've got a bad turnover rate. Okay.
Proper introduction.
Oh!
All right.
I love Tanba's design.
Yep.
Like, immediately. I liked it already, but...
I just knew they'd start him on the dishes. No one likes to do dishes. Where's he going?
This is Risu, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But...
Oh, no!
Oh!
Gotcha. Yeah, black powder. Okay.
That's a lot.
Ooh. I recognize this voice.
Yeah, he sounds super familiar.
So someone else that knew where he was going.
Just like that.
Jeez.
Wow. Alright. There we go. Okay.
See? Oh, crap. Oh.
I love how he uses a different voice for the pet.
Yeah. God, I love how normal their lives are randomly. Like, specific things.
Yep.
Yeah. Ah!
I want to be a princess.
Oh my. Oh, they're bringing this up again, dude. Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Oh my god.
Measurements must be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh! Oh!
What?
Dude! I told you! It's happening! It's happening, man! It's happening!
Okay.
Oh!
Wow.
So...
High society sorcerers, basically.
Oh my god.
A candy statue.
Subarashi!
That's a little bit world buildy feeling there.
Right. But it's like so vague, like doesn't really mean anything yet. Oh my god.
Mushroom bed for the pet. Okay. Nice.
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh, she's wearing heels?
No way, you'll kill yourself.
No.
Even your healing,
Wear
you don't want to risk it. Yeah.
Oh my god, and he leaves immediately.
Yeah,
Oh, these two look good.
Let me guess. Got sorcerer transmutation to give her a bigger rack.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Oh. Nice.
魔法使いが集まってパートナーを探すんです。
ブルーナイトの3日間店は休みだが、ちゃんと掃除しとけよ。
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay.
So he won't have customers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100% Nikaido's gonna be there.
Oh, I mean, well,
1000%.
maybe not. Maybe not. And then maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's important. Is that then N figures out no one here has time magic.
Oh, possible. Sure. Oh, right. They need to be screened. So there's no way Nikaido would go here then.
And then he can maybe deduce that she's in hole.
Sure, but I mean, if she does actually have time magic, she can get in no problem. Oh my god. That easy?
All right. I love it.
They're gonna wake up at some point.
I think they're dead. Wow.
Too easy.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh, speech. Yes.
Blah, blah,
blah. Oh my god. The sound.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Oh no.
She's still like testing the
uh-huh. I love it.
This is so good.
This is fantastic. Oh, really?
Oh. This music, though. What was that floating building?
Yeah, and it had like an upside down cross on it. Oh.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
All right.
Whoa.
Well, shit. Yeah, cheers! Wow.
Magic Festival, man!
Wow, I love it.
Oh my god. Now he's just working again, but he's not getting paid for this work.
You gotta switch out of that outfit now.
Yeah, take it off. Take it off. Oh. Oh! Well,
all right.
Is it midnight already?
I guess. And it's probably something where...
Jeez!
Shit.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Guess not. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No one gets her gyoza but me.
Wait, and that's the end of the episode.
That's the end.
So we're going to like a mini arc of,
I guess,
the
yeah.
festival.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That's
some freaky shit there.
Mm-hmm. But God, seeing them all get ready with like the, okay,
yes,
let's talk clothes and now speeches and everything. Okay, itinerary, what are we gonna be doing? Like, the shot where the designer came in and was just looking at all of them and they're all in their poses. Like, you've got Shin just like, what? I kill a shit ton of people, who cares, right? And it's just like, outfits, yes. Mm-hmm. It's prime entertainment right there.
Also, the lyrics for this ED are basically like, seemingly to just basically say what's going on in the story right now. So, they might be pointing at what's going to happen very soon as well.
Possibly.
Y'all, I was right.
Well,
I was right. Nikaido has freaking time magic.
that doesn't mean, though, that she's Shin's mom or anything like
I don't
that.
care. That was a crackpot theory. The point is, I was right.
Yes.
There is no way that this is a double red herring blind.
Yeah,
that it's
yeah.
like, but you see, someone else came by
No, it's totes
to
Nikaido.
investigate her magic, and they had time magic.
Yeah,
no,
it's
Nikaido.
totes Nikaido, right?
Yeah.
But man, I gotta say, this episode, the amount of comedy
Yes.
was like,
Yes. And they went
and-
about their normal lives, basically.
right? They went about their normal lives. That's the thing that blows me away, because in the previous episode, right?
Right.
You've got baseball antics, and yes, that is kind of normal life in that it doesn't pertain too much to the big plot of things.
Right, but it feels like an event as well.
But it's an event, right?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of crazy things happening in that episode that made for most of the comedy, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it was the normalcy of everything that,
that
made
led
for the
up
comedy.
to an event.
Right, that was, leading up to an event and whatnot. But,
Yep.
like, I think my favorite bit of comedy from this episode is probably just them going to get outfits.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
and the idea that all of these characters that do things that would, make even the most, like, deranged killer, like, blush, right? They're just like, all right, we need outfits, okay.
I want a striped suit with mushroom appendages.
And a matching one for my
Matching
pet.
one for Kikurage.
Right, a matching one for Kikurage. It's I don't know, something black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something strong looking. I want to be a princess. I want tiaras and diamonds and
Furs.
right. And then the one more, the most normal one of them is just like I want a swimsuit that's sort of in the latest
fashion.
in fashion,
Here's some
and
specific
here's
details,
some
fabrics.
details and whatnot. Moving on. Like that. My God, like there was just something about that just hit me so
It hit
hard.
different.
It did because it's the contrast of it, right? Mm-hmm. We see Shin with his backstory of living cross sections of his victims by the dozens being sent to a hospital because he made a promise. Yeah, that I don't bat an eye, right? Like it's like, okay, that's extra, but go for it, right?
Instead of going ham, he goes hammer,
Right. But then we have all right, shopping time. Okay, now we got a schedule here, and N being like trying to practice his speech to the rest of them. And he's like, shut up, guys, come on, I'm trying to practice my speech here, and then Ebisu's like gets measured and she's like, 62 centimeters. Noah gets measured 104 centimeters. Thick, all right. And then Ebisu's like, damn it. And they don't need to explain that she had transmutation magic used to make her boobs bigger, because we know that that's clearly what happened, right?
Yep.
But then she just comes back,
And they're even making like
yeah.
really gross noises
Right.
and stuff, and it's just like, oh no, honey, you should have paid more money.
It's bigger.
You should have gotten the premium.
It's better.
Because those things are just, oh no. And they did nothing to help her getting partners.
Yeah, right. And then the whole idea of getting partners, like that actually before you go into the whole like demon side of things and contracts and whatnot, that actually sounds really sweet. That
Initially,
if you think about,
it does.
Initially,
But then you think about we're in a magic festival.
right. But when you
Telling
think
you, man.
about the idea that if you're in this
Magic
world
festivals.
where people just kill each other all the time for the smallest of reasons and in some pretty brutal ways, then community would be one of the most important things that you could have.
True.
Right? Having
Very
someone who
true.
has your back and it's like, we trust each other, we got each other, we're in this together, right? That's the only way you'd survive.
So Shin and Noi, we ship it so
Yeah,
hard.
we absolutely ship
Yes,
it, right?
yes.
And N and Kikurage, yes.
I ship it as well.
I ship it as well, yeah. And so, but then in this situation, it's like, okay, partners, and it's like, oh, yeah, all right, cool, nice world building thing. 4 years. Oh, so it's temporary. It's almost like it's communicating some nature of this world constantly changing, and that nothing necessarily lasts. But then it's like, hold on, no, there's demons in this. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course, applications, because everyone would want to be
Right.
partnered up with N and Shin and Noi, right?
of
Because
course.
of course.
Of course
Why
they
wouldn't
would.
you?
Yeah.
You know? And then how do you resolve this? Kill each other.
Death games. Let's go.
Games. Just have fun. It'll be a ball.
Like, I have to wonder. Are they obligated to do this, or are they wanting to do this?
That's what I'm curious about, because
Like, why the hell would N basically do this and in the same breath say, if you touch Kikurage, I'll kill everyone here than myself, you know?
right, exactly.
Like, I've only had Kikurage for a month.
A few episodes.
Yeah. But if anything happens to them, I'd kill everyone here and then myself. Like,
Yep. Like, well, and also the fact that the demons or whatever are presiding over this
devils.
devils. That's right.
they have consistently used devils, which I am taking note of.
Right.
Mr.
We don't
Crackpot
necessarily
theory
know
here.
if they're going to be doing the whole D&D style thing of devils and demons and
Well, they
whatnot.
went to
but-
contracts here.
But they
now.
went to contracts.
Contracts
so
are with devils, not demons.
That's true. That is a great point. But the fact that this is specifically with regards to partnering up within the N family, is this something where like
They're
this
higher
is
society, I think.
sure, right. The reasoning for it I totally get.
Yeah.
But the involvement of the devils with this specific Blue Moon Festival, like
Blue Knight.
or Blue Night Festival,
But yeah,
right?
I got you.
That makes me curious. Like, is it actually that there are plenty of these going on around whatever the world universe of this place is?
Possible.
And this is just the area that we're in, so this is the prefectural,
Right.
like area. And because I could totally see the devils breaking things up into prefectures of like, okay, how does this work for the different, yeah.
Right, this is their territory, basically.
Right.
So the mob that runs this area of the sorcerer's world basically gets to have this specific, festival going on here.
But like, we literally had the devils in the floating building up above everyone else, right? And then it's the once every 4 years you have the privilege of potentially going up to them and basically getting. See, contract, yes, that's an element of legitimacy and enforcement, right? But it can also have this connotation of permission, right? And hovering up above, it's like, do they actually just rule the sorcerers?
Like, I think they the more and more we get into this, the more and more basically that the sorcerers exist because of the devils, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
That it is something that a devil is more fundamental to the kind of the world of fantasy just in general than a carnal physical being would be.
Sure.
Like, meaning they have more of a spiritual connotation. Thus, in some ways, they have to exist in a potentially higher plane of existence. Not that all of them do. Like, hence you'd have like a bunch of little ones at the crossroads and deal makers and stuff like that going around doing things and stuff. But hell is another place that actually exists in this world.
Right. And apparently the toilets sometimes lead down to it.
Right.
But then the devils still float up above, so
yeah. If anything, they found some way to coexist, and it's just casually brought up. So therefore, I assume there is no animosity. It is just a thing of where they have a great deal going already, and thus there are little things that they do that are tit for tat back and forth. And these kinds of festivals are probably an example of that, where N hates it. He probably does not like the formality of it.
Right.
But there's
Boring.
nothing. Right. But there's nothing necessarily to presume that he is not against the idea of it fundamentally, meaning that he's actively trying to
Right. He doesn't
happen.
deeply hate it. It's just you hate to do your taxes, right?
Right. Exactly.
You don't hate the fact that you make money, right? It's that you hate the fact that you have to, all right, now let's actually go through everything and do that and that and
The thing that they said is the reason why it's exciting for N's family to do this is that if they partner up with someone, there's a possibility that they can bring out the best in their magic. So the reason why N has been looking for a time magic partner is because that's something that's probably going to bring out insane levels of possibilities with his magic. Like, imagine if there's time-related stuff to where he could accelerate the growth of his business's stuff.
Sure.
And then he ends up being able to break all kinds of economic barriers, and he's like, I'll be the richest sorcerer in the world or in all the dimensions. And
Sir, you already are the richest.
you already are one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
But
point.
then I can buy some really special things for Kikuro and you.
Exactly.
Don't.
A sci-fi broom. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Or there's a personal reason for it. But at the very least, that was a reason that they gave in this episode as to why it's a potentially big deal for someone like Fujita, for instance, who has not had one, basically, and now has his first opportunity with 2 actual partner applications.
Yeah.
Which means, hey, you're moving up in the world, buddy.
Yep.
But, question, were him and Matsumura partners then?
I believe so. I'm not positive, but I think so. And
then would Risu and Aikawa be partners then as well?
Yes.
Because now they've used that word
They
a
did
few
specifically
times.
mention that with Aikawa.
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure. I believe that Shin and Noi are partners, because that just, if they're not, then what are they? You know?
Well, I think they're definitely partners. I just remember that there was the point when he's like, hey, bring along my niece with you. N.
Oh, right. Yes.
So I thought at that point that was when their partnership began. But
Right.
I'm guessing what that was more of a thing of, no, take her with you as opposed to doing your mission solo. But they were already partners, probably?
Yeah, so maybe it's something where it's like they're colleagues, but they're not actual official partners. Like, because there's...
Yeah, we'll probably get into that, though.
Yeah, and I like that they, as much as I have loved the episodes where they do resolve everything in the one episode.
Yes.
I'm glad that for something like this that does seem to have very big world building implications for the story, and like not just the world, but the story moving forward.
Right.
I'm glad that they're going to be spending multiple episodes on this.
Me too.
Yeah, and I just love the idea of the festival. So the fact that we get to spend more time here, I'm all for it. Right. One thing though that we haven't brought up yet.
Yeah.
Speaking of partners. Caiman left.
Yep.
And he didn't just leave to like, I'm gonna go on a mission, like a short mission. I'm gonna quickly go into the land of the sorcerers and come back. He moved out.
And he
quit his
didn't
job, got a new
tell
one.
her.
He didn't tell her or anything.
Yeah.
And
the reason why, was he didn't want to get her involved in this anymore because she got hurt.
yes,
She got hurt badly.
definitely makes sense.
Makes plenty of sense.
I just want to remind you though, Caiman, that happened when she went off on her own. Into the land of the sorcerers.
And you found out at that point that she's a sorcerer.
So
he's avoiding also probably talking about it as well.
Potentially.
Because he knows. He's not stupid.
Like there's enough motivation with him wanting to keep her safe that it could be something where his words are truly what he feels about
Yes.
it, you know? And
I agree.
And I am hesitant to try and attribute emotions that aren't beyond or different than what's stated by the character. At this point,
yeah.
That being said, I do want to just mention that Caiman as a character is not emotionally in tune with himself.
Yes.
Right?
Very much so. He's literally lost memories.
Yeah, he's lost memories. So I would not at all be surprised if there ended up being something down the road where we realized, or Caiman realizes that, maybe this is, I am worried about Nikaido, but it's also something where I don't know how I'd have that conversation with her. I don't know how I'd do that. Like, because that changes everything. So maybe it's better to just leave, because it is for her own good too. She got hurt, Yeah. And then I can resolve this thing on my own, and then I can go back. But
I could definitely see that being the case.
Yeah.
It's a big deal in that it was done so casually.
Yeah, and
we don't know like fully like how much like their relationship means to both of them, because there's this
clearly a lot, but
clearly a lot, but there's this weird kind of almost will they won't they professional kind of aspect to the relationship where it's like they're not together, they are in a professional thing and stuff, but it's based around the idea of him hunting down and killing sorcerers,
right?
Like, trying to find his memories and stuff. We've thought about this and talked about this and analyzed it, but if you think about the fundamental basis for their relationship, it's actually really weird.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
So-
it's another kind of the odd couple. I feel like there's odd couples all over the show.
Yes. But that's the point, I think,
name
of
of the
this
game.
arc. Is defining what makes a couple or partners.
Yeah, this is. So so you're saying that if this was a rom-com, this would be the festival where maybe there's some confessions. And you know, maybe it's also the thing where
Restructuring relationships, too.
sure, restructuring relationships, but also the one character maybe isn't able to be honest with their feelings, so they run away, and then they're at the festival alone, and then the love interest has to go find them and show up and be like, I love fireworks, you know, or something like that.
Hey,
you know,
I'm here for it. I would also love it to be just a silly, goofy moment where some awkward doofus comes in and, like, for some reason goes up to Ebisu even. Like
I want to be your partner.
I want to be your partners. I mean, partner.
Right.
like just all kinds of silliness in that regard, but framed around the crazy Dorohedoro, everything can go to violent madness in, like, you know, 0.2 seconds because you went to the bathroom with heels, you know.
Yep.
Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. But it's time for Theory Crafting Caleb to come out here because I feel so hecking vindicated right now. Dudes, this show is rewarding me.
Yeah.
It's giving me that dopamine hit like nothing else.
No, I get that. I just want to get this out there before you completely, like, bust a nut. I don't think anyone would have argued probably at this point in the show that Nikaido probably has time magic.
I'm not talking about
or
that.
sorry, not at this point, but before this episode. Like
really?
Right before this episode. Yeah, like after the previous episode.
Sure.
It's more of just what that means.
But
what's going to happen with that.
I don't care about talking about that. I'm talking about now what this means. Because I think then that a couple of my previous theories are just being delayed out to when it makes sense for the characters to figure out that those things happened as well.
Okay.
Because if she has time magic,
then
what kind of time magic? There's a few kinds.
Yeah.
Entertainment has taught us rather properly that there's a couple things that are unique with regards to the manipulation of time.
Well,
Are you the thing that's moving? Is the environment the thing that's moving? Are you hopping between parallel, like, you know, universes, something like that, to where you're not actually, like, truly going along the same timeline, but you're breaking the timeline into multiple, you know, world lines, basically?
So I'll put forward a couple things here that I think we can
safely
say
okay,
as a result of how the world has been set up thus far.
Yes.
1. Nikaido was told that she could easily solve Caiman's problem with her magic.
And she's not.
But the point is that she could.
Right.
So that means that it, at the very least, has the ability to undo things, right?
Yeah, which means she can interact with the past at the very least.
Yes, she can interact with the past
We know that much, then.
in some way, shape, or form.
That's good. Keep it grounded
But also, most likely, and this is supported by the fact that magic is always used via dust, that it would be in limited scope. Because one of the things that makes time muckery in any way, shape, or form so busted is that it's fundamentally altering the universe, right?
Well, that's the question, though. Is it something that where she's just the only thing moving?
I think it's something that's limited to how she uses the dust itself. So she could potentially
then it's actually in some ways potentially limitless.
Yeah, potentially even more busted, right? Because
you're right.
Because if
that's why she probably never uses it.
Right, because if you can turn, like, say you can turn back time, right? But then there's other limitations, right? Then you can get into things like time loops and stuff, where you're still kind of trapped, right? You have limitations of what you can do. But if you can,
the OP, dude,
the OP. But if you, well, yes. But if you get to points,
and then lines coming down, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I've drunk the frickin' Kool-Aid, man.
But if you can do limited time manipulation, right? that, you know, anything from like aging somebody to de-aging somebody to sending a person or an object back in time rather than like just changing the time of the universe, right?
Yeah.
That gets into all kinds of other territory. And I think that would fit with the whole dust thing, right? She puts dust on something, she sends someone else to a different time, she sends herself to a different time, she undoes the magic on Caiman's head, whatever, right? Because otherwise, because I don't think you could fix it easily means you could just turn back the time of the universe to before Caiman had this done to him, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah.
But magic is literally being bottled and dealt in, like, you know, the black powder kind of stuff, but also just the idea of it powering Risu's suit. So, magic is in some ways, although like each person seems to have their own like kind of special method of it, the applications based on it comes basically just at the how willing are you to study, analyze, and test it out, which is the whole point of Whole, basically. But I just want to bring up the idea that like we have multiple big, dangerous, in some ways, plot devices then in a show where if you combine them all together, the chain reaction as to what kind of story could end up unfolding goes into
Stupid
bonkers territory. So we first have a, you know, amnesiac protagonist. Which that in of itself is a, oh boy, there's a whole lot of things you can do there.
It's a walking plot hook, yeah.
You have the false perceptions of reality with a person inside Caiman that speaks through his mouth and gives him waking nightmares, basically.
Right.
Via that whole thing. So that's its own thing there. And then we have the person that's the closest to the protagonist being someone that could control time in some way.
Right.
Putting all those things together just in and of itself.
Oh, yeah.
Notwithstanding all the other magic shit.
All the other shit in the world. Yeah, that's crazy. I also want to bring up something else that I think is rather timely.
Oh,
So, time control in stories, that is basically the Pandora's box of you will fuck up everything, right? And maybe in wonderful ways, right? But that's what it does, right?
That's why Mikaido's probably like, I'm never using it.
Right, and that's why we love it as an audience, right? Because suddenly everything is thrown out the window. The rules are completely different.
For equal reasons, though, you can hate it, too.
Yes, you can hate it, right?
Because it invalidates a lot of story stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, one of the problems is how do you keep a lid on it? After you let the genie out of that bottle, how do you put the genie back in the bottle?
Okay.
Well, you would need some kind of dispelling magic that would maybe undo the time muckery. Now, I'm not entirely sure how those two would interact, because dispelling is basically a specific form of time muckery, not but it's undoing the effects of magic that's been done on something.
Oh, you're right.
That can be a way where if the timeline gets completely whacked to shit, right? Okay. Some crazy dispelling burst ends up either undoing things or one of the ways that it could really help is it makes it so that other characters are aware that the time muckery happened. That way you don't undo character development.
So one of the ways that you could do that is just have Caiman bump into Bird Boy.
Sure, yeah.
What happens when someone who's immune to magic meets someone that dispels magic?
Dispels magic. How does that work? Right.
Does the world implode?
Yeah, dispelling an anti-magic field, right? You know, they need to have certain clauses in the rules for that. You know, otherwise, what happens, right?
Yeah. So I would assume on some level, Caiman's probably wins out because it's just
I would think so too.
It's immune to magic.
Right. Yeah, specific rather than general.
But exactly. But you're right. That is timely in that essence there.
Also, if magic came from the devils, then there is that other thing of can God make a rock that he can't lift, right? And if the devils gave them magic, does that mean then that if there's time magic, if there is officially time magic, can the devils manipulate time? Do they exist within the bounds of time?
Okay, so I think the better question to kind of focus in on this a little bit, is that the devils are beings of magic. The sorcerers are cyborgs, essentially, that have co-opted magic.
Fused experiments or something.
They have a physical property about them that makes them able to channel smoke, basically.
Yep.
So they're parasites. They're borrowers of basically the smoke. But if we go on what classic, kind of lore is regarding devils and stuff like that, devils have a hierarchy.
Sure.
They have older, more ancient beings and stuff that go along those lines. So I would say, if anything, devils are probably no stronger by any stretch of it than sorcerers are. It's just,
we've definitely seen the weak devils, flying around.
Exactly. But if time magic is something that can come from the smoke, I would say then that essence of magic can contain theoretically everything. It's just the question of, does this story ever have a reason to go that deep into the circles of hell, basically?
Right. Well,
I don't think it has any immediate reason for that.
Not immediate.
But Caiman does kind of fit the, I am a character that could literally go into the deepest circle of hell, slay Asmodeus, and he can't do a damn thing to stop me.
And that's
because I'm immune to magic, bitch.
And that is why there are so many anime. Like, even ones that I haven't seen, I just know that I know of them. Where it's
absorbing, redirecting. I'm immune to the thing.
Right. It's the, we need a main character that has a very simple power, but also one that's effective and things like that.
It scales up to level 20.
It scales up, right? And making it, and it's kind of a boring power if you think about it, right?
It is, yeah.
It can be done in very cool ways. I love how it's being done with Caiman here and things like that, right? But yeah, you make it so that other people don't have their special thing, Yeah. And that does definitely make it so that Caiman makes sense to be the main character, because if this does go some kind of crazy Gurren Lagann, we need to team up with N and the other sorcerers in order to form a giant mech with a drill that pierce the hells to go break free of our captors or whatever. I would be absolutely down for that. I'm not sure how that would happen and how long that would take and what it would look like, but the stuff that's been happening here makes me wonder if that's the eventual direction the show will go.
I just had a weird idea.
Yeah?
We just kind of have ignored the idea that there's a magic that's in the show right now that doesn't make sense. Why is Caiman immune to magic?
Different kind of magic?
I don't think... You said, could God make a rock that he couldn't lift?
Right.
And my initial thought was, back when the show was in the very beginning stages, that whoever transformed him had some mixing magic with other stuff, shenanigans, and created this thing that would basically be the meat suit puppet that would protect them from just shenanigans.
Yep.
And that made sense given the idea that there was a being inside Caiman who was basically his pilot, if that makes sense.
Who knows? Maybe the being wanted to go kill Asmodeus and was like, I need a protection.
But in this episode, we now got some empirical Risu backstory in that he was being hunted down.
Yeah, he was specifically targeted.
Yeah. We might have seen the point where his head got ripped off.
Yeah. With the blood going all over the devil statue and everything, like that, like he was sent to die.
Right, that seemed like the origin point for Caiman that was before the alley, basically.
Yes,
but something happened in between that.
Right, the body was disposed of or whatever, and
it was probably dropped into hole, basically.
Yep.
But how do you go from that to Caiman existing?
Right.
Risu said, or the being inside Caiman said to Ebisu, "You're the one that got in the way."
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Exactly.
Because if you're the one that got in the way, that makes me think that it's something where, okay, cool. Well, okay, that is the head of Risu, essentially.
Right. It breaks the established understanding of what happened to Risu back then. because that was a surprise to Risu. Risu
Right.
died
Yeah.
in a way that basically leads me to think that it was like, oh shit, like I died, my life is over. Why would Risu basically be able to have any kind of a like
Soul transference of some kind, where like the body was taken over, you know?
okay.
Well, like we need a body as a guinea pig. We need to figure out how this thing works. We're not going to use any important bodies because we want to just keep going until we get something that functions, and then go into the body.
Okay. So, the main thing that we have to kind of go with here is that Caiman is in Risu's body. The body that he has, the torso, chest, legs, all that is Risu's.
Yep.
The head is its own unique thing. And we've talked about the whole thing of it having like, you know, like a personality, a soul, a whatever. But Ebisu, did Ebisu create a person?
I don't know.
Then here's my thought here that just feels like why this is something that just it feels a little bit like I'm missing like two pieces of a puzzle here. Is that this kind of setup here feels too convenient basically for Risu to basically end up surviving in this maybe perfect sequence of accidents that led to basically his body going on while maybe it's being co-piloted with Caiman.
Yeah, I feel like the head of Risu's that Shin and everybody found
that was taken away. Remember, by him, like it just disappeared.
Right, it was just kept there.
No, it disappeared. Remember, they were going to look into it and stuff.
Oh no! Oh, okay. No, Caiman's head that got ripped off.
Oh, that was Caiman's head. That was Caiman's head that got
ripped off. Right.
But
with Risu, his head was being kept basically under lock and key to just disappear somewhere. Right. Now, the head inside Caiman's mouth looks like Risu's head. But what if it was something where they specifically removed the head so that the consciousness or whatever would be removed as well, and then that was how the transfer basically had to happen?
Okay. So,
you know?
So I think you're now on the lines of what I was thinking of initially. My thought initially was that why introduce Aikawa and not have him be brought up kind of into the story? Well, I think that they did here.
Okay.
I think Aikawa could tell that he was in danger, right? Aikawa went around his back and killed him so that he would be saved from whatever was coming for him. Okay,
that's possible.
And basically, this is the setup for what would end up being the way in which his friend, his partner, would be okay. And Caiman is that plan. And then things went sideways. Things went all kinds of wrong because it feels too much like what my initial insight was on this situation was that Caiman was orchestrated. This whole thing here feels like it was
rather
prepared.
than something that just turned into a clusterfuck.
Right, exactly. But over the course of time, it felt like the story was moving it away from that. That it was more moving into the clusterfuck kind of situation there. But by this backstory thing, I think that this was actually planned.
So, few bits of information that we can also get or remind ourselves of. The fact that that Risu's boss told him specifically not to go with his partner, but to go alone. That means that it is highly likely that at least his boss was aware of what would happen.
And probably was going to have the hit go on him.
Probably was going to have the hit go on him. Now, the boss is a part of the Cross-Eye gang, which has connection to the Devils.
Yes.
Ebisu was also originally associated with them. That's how her smoke got circulated and things like that, right?
Right.
That's probably how, whether it was because she was doing it directly or they got her smoke and then used that to do it.
Okay.
So far, all of the pieces for Caiman's creation are within one group.
Yes.
Right?
True.
Unless the person that killed him was from some other group. But I think that's unlikely, right? He went to the place, there's this big statue there, you know, like that almost seemed like a blood sacrifice kind of a thing or something like that, right?
It did feel a little bit ritually, yeah. But,
yeah, and maybe that was
more just the dramatic.
That may have just been the dramatic flair and aesthetic of it, you know.
And maybe the themes of the devils are always looking down and watching all this
right,
stuff
but
happen.
it was either way something where he was still being sacrificed in a way, even if it wasn't to actual devils, but it was more of just for the ambitions of whoever was doing this, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to put out the idea there that the death was something that was done with the purpose of setting him up to become someone else.
I believe so too.
Because remember, I think I had a theory like way at the beginning was, what if this was a faked death of sorts?
Oh.
And this could have been it, basically. And the best way to set it up is such that we, who, as the audience, are looking through the perspective of Risu here, had no idea that that was happening.
I could potentially see that. One of the other things that I'm very curious about, and maybe they might have mentioned this, but what's Risu's magic? Because there are two things that I can think of, basically, is that either Risu was just an unfortunate accident where they needed a body because it was experimental or whatever, right? Or there was some reason why they needed Risu specifically. The only reason I can think of is that his magic was needed somehow, right? Maybe he had some maybe he was the one who had the immune to magic thing, or I don't know. Like that wouldn't work because then how would he get Caiman's head? But like that there was some aspect of what he was bringing to the table without realizing it, which is why they went after him specifically. But I don't know. We don't have too much information on this yet, but yeah, I feel like we're starting to get a lot closer because there are a lot of details that are in that sort of same general nebulous sphere that just aren't being connected yet.
Yeah, I just feel like we basically got like a really big chunk of pieces, and there's just a couple more that are missing now to finalize it. And the main one that makes me feel like I'm moving in the right direction with my instincts on this is because I was like right with the time magic thing. And where I feel like things are moving towards this here is that Aikawa is instrumental in setting up basically how this kind of segment of the story with Risu went.
Either went or will go. Because either Aikawa was specifically brought up as the, you know, go alone because the boss wants Risu to die, and then but Aikawa was specifically brought up so that way he's like, oh, I'll go see Aikawa. Maybe they'll help me out, you know, even though they are a part of that same group because we were partners, you know.
Yeah,
like that's something I could see, and then once we meet Aikawa, we'll get a lot more information on whether they were behind Risu's death or not, and then how they help him moving forward. Because they might also have some information if they weren't a part of it. They probably would have at least heard little bits and rumors or whatever, if they're even still alive. I mean, I'm guessing they are since they were not sent on the mission. But
yeah, I would say they would be.
Yeah,
but guys. I am freaking out right now about the cool, crazy ways this all seems to be interconnected.
Oh yeah,
and
me too.
And
this is really good stuff.
I feel like I can't even fully just really go in and study this episode. Or just the show in general yet, but God, it feels so good to have this type of a show where I'm like, oh, what if we get into this
possibilities?
Thing here? Yes.
Possibilities. The curiosity is piqued. One of the other things that I also want to bring up, even though it was a slight thing, that whole play that they were doing that involved the devils, one, it felt kind of almost like a potential either currying a favor by doing the thing that's about the devils, since we're going to do stuff that involves the devils, or potentially propaganda of the devils being make sure you remember this story. But the idea of the two devils that team up to take out the big devil and then rule hell. One, that seems like something that wouldn't last very long, because then it's when do they turn on each other? But it feels very kind of like Sith kind of thing, where you've got someone that's too powerful, and then the weaker people gang up to defeat the stronger. That results in the overall degradation of the power structure, right? But they get it for themselves. And with, and the people in whole to the sorcerers, it feels very similar. The sorcerers to potentially the devils. I could see this potentially being a part of someone's attempted like ascendance of some kind. Because we know that regular people have tried to become sorcerers, right? Because apparently that's a thing.
Well, that's what the black powder is.
That's what the black powder is.
Yeah, yeah.
But what if sorcerers tried to become devils?
Yeah.
Like, or at the very least, like what, you know, with someone like N, he's reached the top, he had to stop, and at least he's got Kikurage, right?
Nice.
But what happens if they don't have that, right? Would there be someone that would try and go a step further? And maybe that's too conventional for Dorohedoro, you know? But, I don't know. I'm suspicious.
Yeah, there's a lot to be suspicious of with the world building and such. But I do think that, yeah, if we had basically gotten the full play, they would have probably dumped some serious world building stuff on us that's just not relevant for the story at this point in time.
Yeah.
And thus they did basically the most vague kind of like
impressionistic
blah, 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 blah.
general flavor, but yeah, nothing super concrete.
But hey, make a note of this. Make a note of this.
Yep.
This might become relevant in the future.
And why would that become relevant? I wonder.
Yeah, I do feel like that is the show, though. Hey,
okay.
Smattering of images and lots of little things and stuff like that, but
A
keep
bunch
it all
of
in
paint
mind.
dropping on something, and then, hey, some will drip down into
It might make a
something else.
picture. It might make a very, very beautiful, crazy picture.
Or maybe it's just the creator with, you know, just going crazy.
Mashing the meat and just going crazy. I'm not gonna make that joke. But y'all, this was a fantastic episode for
this
discussion.
was really good.
Setting up a new arc of the story. Really excited to see what happens between the relationships of Nikaido and Caiman, but also Shin and Noi. And then, of course, we got to see some awesome stuff with N protecting Kikurage and smiting all with his mushroom powers.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. I am very much excited to experience this, but also to maybe have someone actually go up to that house. I want to see what a devil contract looks like.
Yeah, I want to see what a high-ranking devil looks like.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a high-ranking one.
Well, sure. But I'm guessing it's not like one of the little imp. If it's one of the little like imp things or whatever, like the one that crawled into the eye or whatever, and it's just like, all right, I have my quill. All right, here's the contract. You know.
Well, wasn't there the one that
Nikaido talked to? Yes.
Yeah.
But weren't they kind of like shrouded in darkness and things like that? Like
we didn't see their face.
And I feel like people are going to be like, no, we actually did see their face. It was super obvious, but
I can go back and check, but I
don't think we did. And if we did, it was something where they were like in like a more normal form or something like that. Like we've seen very traditional looking devils so far in the show, right? So I'm curious what a really high ranking one would look like, even if they're not actually in that building. But
yeah.
So.
Y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all of this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this crazy show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
All the info for that's in the description below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.